Let's try this again. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Judgment League of Girls. I am your host, Pato. With me is Highwind. I said a lot of nice things about it. You didn't get to hear it. That's how I wanted it to be. Don't worry. But this is an all-female League of Legends tournament, and we have quite a game for you to kick it off. Aewynia, the queen of League of Girls, versus HeartKaren, our very own Northwest LoL player, organizing barbecues and fun stuff for us League of Legends players here in the Pacific Northwest to do. And they're going to do battle, and I am really excited for this. There's been a lot of planning on this. I know Highwind has been working overtime trying to get everything set up, and so we are happy to bring you a really awesome tournament. And I say let's jump into the bans right here.
We can certainly jump into the bans here. And for those tuning in, you'll notice that summoner spells have been blocked. And as a matter of fact, we've bounced out of the game, which is going to give us a bit of an opportunity to talk a little bit more about Judgment, a little bit to talk about League of Legends and why we love this game, why we brought in, why we've been working with the League of Girls, Aewynia, to put on and host an all-female Judgment. Which, as Callan has said, we put in a lot of work for this one. We want to make it special, so we've upgraded our overlays. We're bringing you the camera. Pato, say hi to everybody on stream. We might even get them a chance to shuffle that Party Rock Shuffle as we get closer to 100 viewers on stream.
Anyone who hasn't checked it out and want to know what we're talking about, if you go to youtube.com/RaiseYourWeaponMedia, our YouTube channel, you can find a video, if you can find it, of me dancing, which was a promise to our viewers because we hit a viewer mark. So if you want to see me dancing, go ahead. It's there. It exists on the internets.
But I'm sure we'll jump right back into this game. But, I have been spending my last week of unemployment. I'm going to be starting a new job here soon, doing everything I can to make sure this event runs smoothly. Pato as well. Not only is he working full time, but he's been hoofing it to catch buses, getting buses to get home here from Seattle to work and improve our overlays. So we really hope you guys are going to be excited with what we've got in store. And you know what? We have hit 100 viewers, so.
Uh-oh. That's scary. But also to check out, we also are streaming live to the Grow Convention, which is in Vancouver, I believe. Vancouver, BC.
It's probably in Canada.
It's about 1,000 people. It's kind of for some startups. Our good buddy Jason from Battlefy is actually out there demoing his cool website. If you guys haven't seen it yet, battlefy.com. If you go there, check it out. That's what we run all our tournaments through. It's a really cool system. You can get players to sign up for your tournaments. It generates challenge brackets for you. And the other great thing that it does is also pulls ELOs from all the players. They can enter roles, especially for our draft system, which we'll talk about a little bit as we get started here. And you can actually look up stats, almost like a slightly like LoL King Light is what I would put it as for stats.
Yeah, the LoL King Light.
LoL King Light, and you can actually grab stats off players, which is really great for our system. So definitely check that out. It's getting revamped over the next couple days, and he's showing it off there. And we have used it extensively for, I think, the last 7 or 8 tournaments.
Yeah, probably starting with Judgment 4 or 5. The creators of Battlefy came to us, said, "We love what you do." The owner creator, one of the owner creators, Jason. You might be talking to him right now. You might be seeing us on an 80-inch screen. I know they said they went out, they picked a projector, they got a screen. They're going to be debuting us. So if you can see us, hello audience, that live audience at that Grow Convention. But the Battlefy system, we've seen it go through upgrade after upgrade after upgrade. Anytime we say, hey, this would be great to have, they're like, sure, no problem. With Jason, one of the creators, he's got his personal partner in crime, Justin Wong, not to be confused with E.G. Justin Wong. But
although that would be really cool.
I get an email from Justin that says, "Hey Joe, you're the feedback you submitted, we've taken care of your problem with the ticket, and thanks, Justin Wong." I'm like, Justin Wong, what? Yes.
It's also really cool when Justin Wong likes our posts, and everyone's like, "Oh snap!"
But yeah,
Justin
we
Wong,
have gotten back into the game.
Yes,
Bans are starting to get cranked out. I think they're going with the exact same bans here: Blitzcrank, Shin, Diana, and Malphite. All top-tier bans. I don't know if any one of these are targeted. I think we actually might have Rengar as a perma-ban. Don't quote me on this. I know we discussed it with the captains. We were supposed to take a vote. We'll see. It could be, normally if you and I were to make a bet or have a contest and where we agreed upon a specific rule, it would be a gentleman's contest. I don't know here in our league of I'm gonna go ahead and point out one of our viewers said, why are they the League of Girls? Why aren't they the League of Ladies? And I'm gonna refer to that a little bit because I think the League of Ladies is awesome, but I know League of Girls is the website. So if you have a chance, go ahead, check it out. If you're a female spectator that you've tuned in, want to know a little bit more about the community, the biggest online female community for League of Legends. Aewynia, you can quote me on that, right? Or I can quote you on that, right?
And I know a lot of you actually are probably wondering, what is Judgment? Well, we'll hop into that a little bit right now. So Judgment basically is a format that we came up with. We experienced a lot playing back in beta with AON, which is now TSM, of course, Reginald and the guys, and they would host something called Friday Night Scrims. You get people together, they'd do some impromptu captains. A lot of the top players would be captains, and you would have a chance as Joe Schmo, as it was, or Callan, I guess, or Pato, to get picked onto a team and get to play there and play with high-level players and get all that experience. And you didn't need a team to compete and have a fun time. Well, we've taken that format after it's been lost in the archives of history, and we've revamped it now. So what we do is we take 40 players, in this case 40 lovely ladies, and we take 8 of them, they become captains. Then, much like a fantasy football draft, the other 32 players are drafted snake style until we get 8 5-man teams. And then once we get those 8 5-man...
5-woman teams. Sorry, go ahead.
We get 8 5-woman teams. Sorry, that is correct. You are correct for correcting me. And then we put them into a bracket. They play best of one. We have Riot Prize support. If you win one game, you get $5 in RP. And it's a really great format, just simply because, if you aren't a high elo player, you have a chance to play with really high elo players, or if you don't have a team, it's a way for you to get in and play competitively. I know in our standard judgments, we actually have players from Otter, who's a 2500 player, which you might have seen recently play against CLG Black, and you can actually play with a player like that, of that caliber, get knowledge from that, and play and win a tournament as an unranked player. And that's how we go, and it's a really cool format. And Rengar has been picked.
Rengar has been picked. I don't know if anything's blowing up in Skype chat. Like I said, there was a discussion where we might just permaban Rengar. It's a new champion. It's a brand new week. We don't know how strong he is. So far, I think they're going along with it. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see Rengar. I personally don't know all of his abilities. I think we've all seen the YouTube video where he builds up those stacks and then runs the lane and jumps somebody with Ignite. I don't think we're gonna see that here. I personally don't think it's strong at all.
I like to call that like the 4 pool of League of Legends. Like, there's like so much setup. You see it coming, and if you just deal with it correctly, you're fine. But if you don't, you're gonna be really bad in throwing your mouse in top lane really, really quickly. So to fill in, I know again, we have that Grow convention. We have a lot of people that don't know what League of Legends is. So we're just gonna explain a little bit about the characters as they get picked here. So it looks like what we have here is we have, for the blue team, Team Aewynia, we have Nunu, Sona, and Caitlyn. Now, Nunu, he's a very tanky champion. Typically, we find him in the jungle or recently top lane. Or support. Yes, support has that speed buff that helps out his team. So I imagine with a Sona, we're probably going to see him actually in the jungle or in that top lane. We'll have to see once summoner spells finally get picked or the rest of the team members do. And then we have, of course, Sona. Sona, she's a support champion. Support champions in League of Legends, they're pretty much there to make sure that your AD carries, your characters, they're going to carry you way in the late game, stay alive, and they can get through that early game. And Caitlyn, as we have right here, Marilyn is picked up. She is an AD carry. She is a character that typically a little bit weak early. They usually have ranged abilities and some escape abilities to help them stay alive in that late game. And they're basically just going to farm as much as they can during the game so they can reach that late game and deal as much damage as possible. And it looks like for the last picks, Rice Bunny picking up Gragas, and we have Queen Cream Puffs picking up Aurelia. Now, Gragas is a mage caster. Those are going to be your champions that you're going to see in mid lane, which we'll talk about once the game gets started. They are going to do lots of burst damage. They're basically going to be your playmakers in the early and mid game, and they're going to try to make plays for your team and make sure that you come ahead when you reach that late game and allow your AD carry to carry you through the game. Aurelia now switching around, maybe they're going to switch over to a Riven. Maybe they feel Riven is a better matchup against Nidalee over here, which we see Ziola playing right now. Nope, Queen Cream Puff's going to stick with Aurelia. Now, Aurelia is a top champion. Again, we'll talk about more of that once the game gets started. And top champions are typically bruiser champions that are just going to be 1v1 against their top lane. The junglers might come in and help out. But they're basically just going to try to get as farmed as they can, win their lane, and then later when you get in team fights, they use that tankiness and their gap closers, if they have them, to get in there and disrupt the enemy AD carries, which we talked about earlier, which are so important to carrying that late game. So looking back over and giving some HeartKaren some love here, they have a pretty interesting comp. So they have Rengar. It looks like Rengar is going to be in the jungle this time. He's not going to be top laning and trying to pull the golem trick there. You might see some good ganks from him. And then we have Taric, Graves, Nidalee, which is a very strong top. We've actually seen Valiant in our Judgment tournaments wreak havoc and pretty much carry games entirely by himself, finals games at least. And then, of course, HeartKaren jumping on to Morgana. Morgana's another one of those mages. She's very, very tanky, gets in there, disrupts the entire enemy team, and that's where they're going to back up. And that team looks very, very solid from the purple team. I'm really excited actually to see Rengar played and see how that matches up.
Well, I actually jumped into Princess Jovial's profile here, and you can actually see she's played quite a bit of Rengar in her match history. She's actually got, I think, 8 or 9 out of her last 10 games are Rengar. All victories. Maybe I think there's one small defeat. So she's definitely been grinding out those Rengar games. She's had a lot of success. So I think we're going to see Rengar here on display once we hop into this game.
Which, I want to see it. I haven't got a chance to actually play Rengar a lot yet. Typically, I buy every champion as soon as they come out, play a couple games with them, but this week, haven't been able to do it, trying to set up all this League of Girls stuff, so I'm really excited to see Rengar in action. I'm also excited to see Gragas in action, because Gragas, for a while, he, disappeared, and everybody was like, skill shot-based champion, not reliable. You get a silence on him, and that messes up with his Q. But he has a lot of cool meta things. Much like Malphite was brought in to be anti-AD carry. His barrel actually reduces attack speed too. So it's kind of that kind of scenario. Plus he does ridiculous burst damage. He's highly mobile. He can get around the map really quickly with a body slam. And of course, I'm probably the most famous player playing him recently is Wild Turtle, who's been maining the heck out of that guy.
Yeah, I was even received a ban, a Gragas ban in one game. Where that's when you've reached a pinnacle where you can go into that pro player mentality, those pro formats, and really force the enemy team to change their ban system, their structure, their system, whatever they had going in there when they're thinking about their strategy. There's just, wow, this guy is completely out of control with this champion right now. It seems that these guys got a lot of practice in, a lot of work with him. So when you can do that, you've reached something. Like you've accomplished a lot, and I really like that in competitive League of Legends, and well, actually just League of Legends in general, it's a chess match, except where you've got 5 players on your team to deal with, not just your piece of the chessboard, and so those dynamics change with the characters. You will never ever play the same League of Legends game twice. I mean, it's like it. I mean, it's the Japanese tea ceremony. You will never have that same cup of tea. It's all about the experience, and that's why you can see gamers out there. They've got thousands of normal wins, or they've been playing lots and lots, and that's why I continue to play. I've been playing since beta. You've been playing since beta. Yeah. It's, to me, it's there's we all get something from the game. For me, it's that strategy. I love to play. I love the new champions they come out. I love how they change the way the game works. Riot patches the client every 2 weeks or so, adding new champions, adjusting and making changes. It's always a new game. It's always a new experience. It's fresh. It's going to be around. That's why we're here. We want to cast this game. We want to talk about it. We want to get players you've never heard of on stream. We want to show them what they can do. And frankly, I enjoy it, so I'm excited. We're probably going to hop in this game here in about a minute. I'm happy to see HeartKaren on Morgana. I know she's been practicing Morgana.
Yes.
I was hoping to see Annie. Personally,
the classic Annie from HeartKaren.
You and I, we sat in the studio once before, and we had like 16 people here, and we had a LAN.
We actually got up to 21 people.
Oh, hey.
Don't try to undersell it.
We also ran a Peggle tournament.
Yes,
so,
that was epic. You can find that on our YouTube channel too.
So outside of the Peggle tournament, we had a 1v1 tournament. And I believe I got smashed by Karen playing Annie. She dropped timbers on me, and I died so quickly. And I just remember going, "Boo!" Well, I'm out, guys. Thanks for playing. And I also believe there's probably some video of us shrieking and or screaming, as from what I'm known for. So, shout-outs to Karen, her Pacific Northwest player and captain.
You know, we were talking about a lot of players who are starting to main champions, and I actually kind of, there's this quote recently in a guide I was watching. I actually think it was a Rumble guide, and it was, I don't fear the person that's practiced 10,000 kicks, but the person that's practiced one kick 10,000 times.
Wasn't that like Bruce Lee? Or
yeah, there you go. Okay. But yeah, like these Rengar champions, these Wild Turtle champions, players that get known for a champion. Not only do they become really, really good and they can excel and kind of almost break the meta a little bit, but then they start forcing bans, and then teams are spending bans on champions that aren't typically banned in the meta. And even though like the fear, like the old hotshot GG Nidalee, like just the fear of that happening was so critical that teams either banned it or they possibly lost.
Yeah, I mean, and we can think back, or formerly SK Gaming's Wicked, now with CLGEU, playing Aurelia. I mean, those guys set standards and precedents for all of us players down in the gold levels or the unranked, or, as we went to climb, we get to watch them play. We got to see their mentality, how they played the character, how they made that character stronger than we thought it could ever be. And that's why, I watch players here in the Pacific Northwest that I get to meet in person, like Otter. I watch Otter play. I watched Otter I watched CLG Black.
Yep.
Ban Ezreal against Otter, and I mean, like, whoa. Granted, we saw Ezreal ban here, and a lot of people have been talking about how strong Ezreal has become with the recent play change in style.
Yes.
I mean, by recent, it's been about a month. Where you now max one ability over another. I mean, it's just the mentality of how we play the game. But Otter, if you ever had a chance to meet them, the nicest guy out there, super quiet, doesn't really get angry or upset. And personally, I feel like he's always one step ahead of the competition. He's always got that 1 second where he's anticipating actions. So not quite into the game yet. Looks like we are still loading.
We are very close.
The blue team rocking 5 skins, and the purple team with almost 5 skins. And that's kind of what you want to see. You want to see players who love their champions enough that they're going to go out there and spend hard-earned money to not only support the game we all love, but to really bring some vanity to those champions.
Yes, and here we are underway again. Gonna explain a little bit for those people new to League of Legends. This map is Summoner's Rift. As you can see here, there are 5 teams of 5 champions and heroes. Their goal is to kill each other's base, this nexus right here. And along their way, they're actually going to have to defend these towers and destroy these towers to get there. The way that they do that is they actually gain experience, gold. They can buy items by killing each other or minions that spawn periodically throughout the game, or by killing jungle creeps, which you will see in a second. But it looks like the blue team is going to come in here and possibly go for an invade. They're waiting very, very patiently. Red team waiting for this, and I like this kind of play. I like this. You know what? Hey, we're in a game. Let's shake things up. Let's not let people get comfortable in the first game. And looks like Morgana actually trying to scope out this Sona here, and here comes the blue invade.
And with some excellent early game warding and planning, Red team has placed a vision ward. Vision wards allow you to place a item on the ground that's going to stay there statically. It typically goes invisible. Actually, it does go invisible, and what it does is it grants vision where you wouldn't normally have it. And I really like this. Right now, the Red team know exactly what's going on here. They're going to wait for some of these players to blue pill, and they might be able to spring the trap.
Yes, this would actually be a really big move. This is a common standard move. And you know what? Sports these days, get the 4 wards like we're seeing here and go and place one early if you can, or place any early ward at your buffs if you expect an invade, and you can punish teams for that right here, because it's going to be essentially a 5v1, I guess, what's left. I believe Sona and Caitlyn are probably going to be able to escape. They actually do grab it, so they're actually not there in time. A really quick Baron, or actually not Baron, blue buff by Aewynia, just using that consume and that smite, getting out of there really quickly.
1,000 true damage.
Oh, yeah.
GG blue buff.
Yeah, so they were a little bit late on that, and they had vision of it. I guess they just underestimated Nunu's ability to kill those jungle creeps.
So definitely smart play here. Both teams reacting accordingly. Red team probably didn't expect the speed at which that buff was going to go down. Looks like Rengar's going to get a leash here from Nidalee. A leash is something that you can do to support your jungler. Junglers are champions that will go into the jungle and start most of the game and spend most of that early game in the jungle gaining experience. And then what they'll end up doing is coming out through the fog of war to gank lanes and try to give advantage to your teammates in lane, turning what would be a 1v1 into a 2v1.
Yes, and the main advantage of them, too, is, without wards like we saw earlier, those items that you place down and gain vision, they actually are not accounted for on the map like the typical other champions that are in lane. If a champion that is in lane goes missing like this bottom lane, then their team, usually with good communication, will call it out. But we have a gank up here in top lane. Rengar coming in here. Quick little dash out by a Queen. Cream Pie. Woo, Cream Puffs. Will she be able to get out of this? Looks like she's going to get trapped. Nunu coming here, trying to support this. And Zyla's going to back off. So great maneuver by Aewynia. Great crisis management. Didn't panic, didn't try to run back into it and flash. And just great patience and good backup by Aewynia coming up here and supporting her top lane.
Yeah, I really like Aewynia. And she totally, as when she was drafting her team, she's like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to play support here. Or actually, she might have been looking to play AD. But one of the things we noticed in the Judgment format with this player pool was that there weren't a lot of junglers. And so Aewynia was like, well, now that I'm a captain, I've picked my team, I'm going to actually start focusing on where we are the weakest or what I can do to make sure that we have, the strongest advantage. And so it looks like, to my guess, she said, you know what, I can learn Nunu, or I understand the new mechanics of Nunu, and I think this will be a great, this will be a great pick for us. And so far, she's executing that counter jungling by that invade and getting that blue buff. She went ahead and donated an early blue buff to Gragas in mid, and she's probably going to rotate here eventually and pick up that red buff. So she'll be even or ahead of Rengar because, Rengar has spent time ganking. Rengar didn't get that blue buff. And, this is a great way as a jungler to gain advantage for your team.
Yes, definitely making plays for her team. And now we're actually going to talk a little bit about this bottom lane now. Bottom lane, here are the supports.
We have a gank coming in here on top with Aewynia coming in through. Will hit the trap.
Great slow, good exhaust, ignite to follow it up. The heal coming in, trying to protect herself, but the dive coming in from Queen Cream Puffs. And there is First Blood. First Blood is awesome. It gives you extra gold to your team. And so Queen Cream Puffs is going to have extra gold in this top lane and to help her try to dominate this. So back to this bottom lane. Now, bottom lane is where you typically send your AD carries. The characters that are going to carry you later in the game. They're range characters right here. They're going to try to farm all these little creeps here, and each creep that they kill gives them gold, and they're going to farm these up and get as much gold as possible. The supports, they're not going to kill any of these creeps that you see here. They're just going to try to protect, harass the other AD, and prevent them from farming, and if they see an opening, even go in for a kill.
Yeah, and the reason why there's only one champion here farming all the creeps is because you only get the gold when you last hit a minion. So what you'll see here, if we can bring attention to it, these numbers here down in the box next to the characters, these are actually the number of minions that you successfully have last hit, where you've gotten the gold from it. And what it does, as your gold begins to accumulate, you can obviously, when you go back to your base, whether by death or recalling, you can then shop and become stronger.
Now, actually, let's switch over to the middle lane. This is where our mages are. Now, the reason you send your mages here is actually they actually have a great ability to actually rotate either way on the map since they are in the mid lane. Plus, it is also the safest lane for them. They can actually farm pretty safely because the distance to their tower is actually shorter than it is in any other lane. As you can see, because of the curve, if you could get caught out by a ganks like we saw earlier, you have a longer way to run to safety before you can be protected by your own friendly tower. So in this middle lane, it's going to make it a lot easier for these champions to farm. Gragas and Morgana actually have a lot of AoE abilities, area effect abilities, that they can use to farm these creeps very en masse, very, very quickly. They can even come down if they want to and farm out the Wraith neutral camps here and get even more CS. And it looks like Cream Puff and Aewynia just putting a lot of pressure on this top lane. Aewynia decided to camp it a little bit, and this is actually going to deny creep score and the ability for Zyla to actually gain gold and get creep score. It's going to put her farther behind. Rengar looks like she's finally backing here and going to go back at level 4.
Rengar does have that exhaust, a really strong summoner spell for junglers. It gives that one more additional ability to either slow down an escaping champion or prevent the damage of a champion that might otherwise be perform a lot more burst damage. And Ziola in a lot of trouble here. Aurelia does have a health advantage, and with that first blood, which she hasn't gone back yet, she still has those pots. So Ziola in a lot of trouble here, starting to follow behind in creeps as well.
Yeah, and I actually like this harass coming out of Sona Caitlyn. You know, Tarek Graves actually a really tough lane. Tarek actually swings a lot of lanes to himself, and actually Tarek getting very, very aggressive here, trying to bait in possibly. Oh, wow, that Piltover Peacemaker just barely leaving Tarek alive here. Tarek with very minimal health, probably 20 health after that. It looks like Graves is going to go back as well. They're going to use Blue Pill. Blue Pill is an ability that will take you back to your friendly Nexus. You can actually heal up here, and you can buy items from the shopkeeper, as you see to the left. And that's how players will gain items, get stronger throughout the game, and spend their gold.
Now I'm looking here in mid. We can notice that Karen has gotten Rice Bunny slightly under duress, meaning she's got the turret under, but Aewynia has shown up. The exhaust going to go down. It's not going to work with the black shield up, and she will get a chance to attack her once to get that proc from red buff, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, good attempt there, but you know, you always have to pay attention whenever you are a jungler and you are trying to pull off a gank. You have to assess, you know, your lane's strength and their ability to back up a gank. You know, as we saw Rice Bunny, you know, under duress, like you said, didn't have a lot of mana. So even though Aewynia comes in there, she can put in the slow, she can put in the exhaust, she can apply red buff. Gragas actually can't really follow up with any damage. Gragas is kind of unique as an AP champion because he is melee versus a lot of AP champions which are ranged. So even then, he would have to walk up right next to Morgana in order to actually deal out damage just through auto attacks.
Yeah, and so far so good in terms of what we look when we're looking at creep stats and farm. Morgana 70 plus creep stats, Graves 72 creep stats. Like these guys, you know what they're doing. They're getting the last hits, they're getting the farm, and this is what you want to do in the early game. Is you want to build up that early game gold so that you can go back and pick up some mid-tier items, and then you can begin to start really harassing and gaining advantage in lane.
So we see here from Graves is Graves, you know, he's gone the typical double Doran's Blades, Berserker Greaves, but Caitlyn's feeling really, really good about her game so far. She has a lot of health pots left over. She has 4 health pots in her inventory right now, and she just went and bought a BF sword straight up. But here we have Tarek with the burst damage combined with Graves, and there is the ult to finish off Sinich, and that is a kill for the bottom lane. That's actually really good for them. And now that support, that critical support that helps protect their AD carry is gone, it's going to be really hard for Maryland right here to actually farm safely, because now there's 2 champions. It's a 2v1 and actually put a lot of pressure on her and actually zone her out if this lane pushes out from this tower.
Yeah, the good news is with that BF sword, she should have no trouble last hitting under turret. This will give her time for her support to get back into lane. And in a 1v1 thing to note, and maybe also tell your jungler at this point, is that Graves blew his flash in order to get that kill. Now, we say blew it. It's also used it in confirm the kill, which is great because that's gold. That's more gold for your for Graves as he's going to scale later into this game. So, but one thing to know is that flash is used as an escape mechanism, and poor Princess Jovial has met her fate to the red lizard.
And great work by Cream Puffs, up there. Once you get a kill in that top lane, it snowballs the hardest of any lane in League of Legends. And right now we see Cream Puffs, she is the queen of the top lane. She's throwing her weight around, taking out, I guess I don't want to say that if ladies are involved, but they're throwing it around and actually just dealing a lot of damage and not letting Nidalee get any breath or her feet under her right now and get any farm. And she's going to keep doing that, keep farming.
Oh, Aewynia is showing up. We'll get that ice ball off. There's going to get a Sona ult, so I think we're going to see a poor Tarek go down.
Ooh, picked up by the AD carry. Great job there. Aewynia actually popping the ult, probably thinking about a kill, but luckily it left him a little low, and the AD carry was actually able to pick up that kill, getting a little bit more extra gold for herself in that exchange, which will help her buy those late game items quicker.
I think Sona felt really good about that kill. She's like, "What? You're gonna kill me, Graves? You're gonna come in here. You're gonna flash at me. You're gonna blow everything you got. Wait till I get back in the lane with my jungler, and we're gonna take you down." So nice.
I'm gonna kill your buddy. What?
So nice revenge kill. Both carries picking up kills on the enemy team support, really keeping that goal in line. That's we talked a little bit about the snowball mechanic, and that is a strategy in itself, which is once you have an advantage, keep that advantage, grow that advantage, and then you take that advantage and you snowball it into even a bigger advantage. Whether it happens in the mid game, where you start the team fight and your team is stronger, or even towards the later game where you can pressure opponents under turret. And
we have Rengar sneaking in here. Brush Buddy's trying to do work, but it looks like Queen Creep Buffs actually wanted to turn onto Nidalee and try to take her down, but now she's running for her life, and she will be able to escape out of this, chugging health pots all along the way. Ping's going down up top. It looks like Gragas is going to use his body slam to get over this wall right here, use that mobility. He's going to come here with his ult, do a lot of burst damage. Queen Cream Puffs trying to bait in there, and now it's going to be up to Gragas to try to clean this up. Throws his ult, explosive cast, gets the stun off with body slam, misses the barrel. Great flash by Xiola, able to get out of this, and she's going to use that cat form and that pounce to get high mobility and get away. And now Morgana, HeartKaren has followed this up. And Rengar is going to go down. Rice Bunny trying to run for her life. There's the ult coming in from HeartKaren, trying to follow this up, chase down the enemy champions. It looks like Aewynia is going to be running for her life now, just has to dodge a Dark Binding. Gonna do it, and she will be safe as she backs off out of this team fight.
That was quite the extended fight here. I thought at one point we were going to break apart, but no, they kept it going. And great play here. Both mid lanes rolling in. We saw a lot of pings go down, so we know that there was communication going on. It wasn't like, hey, I forgot to call MIA. It was they're coming. You guys need to make a decision to either go in or get out. And they both teams trading kills there. So I think overall it came out in favor of the red team with Morgana picking up a kill, and they also picked up Aurelia, who was pretty close. I think she was 1 kill away from a kill spree.
Yes, she was. And actually, if we look into this top portion of our screen here, you can actually see the overall team gold. But, Sona getting caught out by that stun. And there's that Graves combo again. Graves, almost like an AP caster for AD, just can throw out a lot of burst damage really, really quickly. And that Target Graves combo doing work. And we see that both ADs have decided right now that they're going to pick on each other's supports. Now, eventually those supports are going to kill enough that they're not going to be worth that much gold, but it still helps the advantage like I was talking about earlier. Without your support there, it makes it a lot riskier to farm, and it still is giving your opponent gold in lane.
Yeah, we talk about, supports are the unsung heroes. It is really the hard knock life for a support. You get to do a lot of work. You don't get any glory. You get picked on. You're
like the offensive lineman of League of Legends. You're never going to be MVP in the Super Bowl, but, you do a lot of work for your team. Grog is coming down for the counter gank. Explosive Cat's actually going to miss Graves here. Graves now walking back up into Aewynia. It looks like Rengar's come down as well. Great juke
Rice
there
Bunny
by Silence Dream. Will they be able to pull this off? And Rice Bunny finally going to get it with the barrel. Now they're chasing down this Tark. Going to get body slam. That's actually going to slow him. It's going to be very, very hard for him to get away from this. There's the last barrel to finish off. Rice Bunny doing work in this bottom lane. We've seen 4 champions for the blue team come down here. They've pink warded up. They know there's no vision now for this red team. These pink wards can actually see the enemy normal wards. As you see a green ward here, this is the standard ward. Pink wards can snuff those out. And now what we have here is blue team's going to go for Dragon. Dragon gives a lot of global gold to your team. Is a very high priority objective in the early game, and it looks like blue team is going to pick that off first. As you watch the team gold jump up here at 19.7k right now, almost 3k gold advantage. Going to jump up another K there, and that is how you gain advantage when you are ahead, when you make plays like that in League of Legends.
Yeah, so what we didn't get a chance to talk a little bit about Dragon. Dragon is an objective that provides global gold. Used to provide global experience, so an experience is now kind of isolated to everybody that's standing around Dragon. But what you can do is once you've gained that advantage, you can then focus on those objectives. There are actually multiple objectives, not just Dragon that gives global gold and some experience, but Baron, who spawns at 15 minutes, so we can probably see that he has spawned. That guy you won't see, we will get messed with until later on in the game, right around the 20 to 30 minute mark. He actually provides a lot more global gold, 400 gold each, to my knowledge, as well as a buff that makes your team really strong. Gives you increased regen and armor and magic resist, as well as, I believe, AP and maybe some attack damage.
Yes, and he is this big red mark right here in the shadows, but we will see him later, trust me, ladies and gentlemen. And, HeartKaren are in a lot of trouble. A lot of members of blue team coming in here, and now that actually they have killed this top turret, what we're going to see is Queen Cream Puff now roaming around other parts of the map after her lane is pushed up because it's not safe for her to push anymore, and she's actually going to come down and affect other lanes. Red team getting massive pings telling them to back off. They know this is coming, and Queen Cream Puff's just doing laps right now through the jungle, through the enemy team. But there was a little bit of bug earlier, if any of our viewers saw it. Blue Buff actually wasn't showing up in spectator mode. Aurelia was there attacking something, but Blue Buff wasn't showing up, so a little interesting thing right there. Riot can check that out tomorrow, I guess, if someone gives them the heads up.
Yeah, and while we were watching that try gank on mid, poor Marilyn was under a lot of pressure in bot lane. She actually did real good to avoid Graves' ult, which was down in this fight. And both carries going to go down here. Graves picking off Caitlyn, and Graves...
Yeah, we have a full fight in here. Aewynia going there, trying to do absolute zero. Follow up on the Sonal. Shackles coming in here, actually going to do a lot of work for a team to stun out, to stop the damage. Queen Creep Up just sustaining through all this, putting out lots of damage. Rice Bunny trying to back off out of this. We have a 2v2 now. Looks like the support might go down again. It is going to happen, and Rice Bunny is going to be the last member of her team able to back off out of that team fight. And I have to go back and talk about how smart Zyola's play was right there, because she actually got caught by the Gragas barrel, got pushed in, and she didn't try to keep escaping. She was like, hey, you know what? I might be able to kill Caitlyn, and so, you know, instead of just dying for nothing, just trying to escape, she knew she couldn't escape, so she said, I'm going to kill Caitlyn, we're going to trade right here, and I'm going to get the most bang for my buck out of this situation. Was able to kill Caitlyn, and trading that 1v1, you know, might have helped him carry through that fight, because if Caitlyn had survived through that fight and had that extra damage out there, I think the blue team would have won that fight pretty easily.
Yeah, and 4 for 5, and the red team bringing it in within just 1 kill. Now the kill total is 9-8. Gold is definitely in favor of blue team. I believe it's because of that first blood as well as dragon. And it looks like they have been farming a little bit better overall when we take a look at the creep stats. Gragas in the lead right now with 160 CS. And Aurelia already with those 4 kills has picked up a trifle. Oh, woo! Marilyn getting really low. I think Graves was like, man, this is the second time she's gotten away with just a hair of life.
I actually do like this play from Graves. I like, you know, players that know when they have an advantage, recognizing it, and then putting it on their opponent, not letting them just, you know, simply, oh, no, we're not going to farm. This is going to be, you know, a ladies' agreement here. I'm just going to come in and put as much damage you, get you out of lane, and I'll deal with your support and your jungler in this bottom lane now. And, you know, the good part is you know, this tower did fall early. You know, we saw Nidalee being zoned out of experience and gold because Queen Cream Puffs was so strong, but now that there's no turret there, it's unsafe for Queen Cream Puffs to actually push up this top lane safely. So Nidalee's actually going to be able to get to farm freely now that Queen Cream Puffs is not there to harass her.
And so I think you know, we're seeing a lot of good communication, a lot of transitioning. We've seen Aurelia get out of lane when she took that early turret, but Nidalee's been matching it. Nidalee does have quite a bit of movement. I believe right now teams are setting up for Dragon. Dragon does respawn every 6 minutes. So once it went down before, it's going to come back up in 6 minutes. Both teams are going to try and vie for control map-wise to see who has the best vision. And then if possible, if they have an advantage, you're going to try and take Dragon and regain that Dragon control, is at least what Red Team is looking to do.
Yeah, and Red Team right now in the better position so far. Blue, they're pretty split up. You know, if Red actually wants to close in on Dragon, it's a little bit of a more advantageous position if you want to work Dragon. But Ranger might be caught out here. HeartKaren coming in to try to support her. Aewynia backing off out of this. Exhaust actually going down pretty early. There's no one there to follow this up, and now we have a full engagement. 4v3 right now. Tark actually flashing over the wall. Barrel coming in. Absolute Zero going off. Sona crescendoing over the wall, and now Gragas coming back in here onto HeartKaren, throwing down the Ignite. Will it be able to pick her up? It is going to be able to pick her up, and Blue's going to be able to ace the enemy team, killing all members of the red team and keeping 2 alive. Again, keeping your AD carry alive, so critical in team fights. And Sona, you know, great work by them because Caitlyn was attacking over the wall. She was very, very safe. Oh, yeah. Sona threw her ult over the wall, was still able to hit a lot of people on the red team and was still very, very safe throughout that fight. So great positioning by Marilyn right now.
And if you ask any AD player from any elo range of any skill, the big key in any fight and how to win and play smart is positioning.
Yes.
That is the biggest skill you need to know. And she had the best position possible.
Yeah.
There was a giant wall between her and the enemy team, and she got to attack freely, putting in a lot of free damage, staying safe. That ult over the wall, so far, one of the clutch plays I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really, really strong play by Sintich right here. And she's been actually playing a good job. You know, she got picked on a little bit early, got killed by Graves a bunch, but now, you know, that Sona ult so strong, recognized by a lot of players, and that's why we see her played a lot. It's an AoE, I guess it's a stun, but really what it does, it actually makes the champions dance, which is sort of like a stun because they can't do anything while they're dancing, although they get to have a good time before they die, which is a bonus.
Put on a show.
And it looks like Red Team now going for Dragon. They are in position. Blue Team caught sleeping a little bit. Aurelia is in this top lane, so she's actually going to push this as hard as she can, try to get damage on the turret, and make up for the fact that Blue is not in position to contest this Dragon, and Red was just able to get some gold.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to use this advantage to pressure bot lane. And meanwhile, like you said, Aurelia going to realize, hey, There's a lot of members down bot. I got a chance to free farm these minions as well as push this top turret. It's a second tier turret. Doesn't give more gold than a first tier turret, but it really begins to open up that map because minions will then push further towards the enemy.
Aewynia caught out here by Rengar and Tarek. Graves all coming in to back it up. Heal's trying to come in to protect her, but it's not going to be enough, and they're going to have to back off out of here. In the meantime, Morgana and Nidalee have come in here, and they are defending this top turret. They're saying, no, 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 we're not going to give you this to you for free. We're going to defend this. And another engagement, and they're able to catch Marilyn. Great flash, and uses the net right there to escape. Great job, and she's going to throw in her ult, and oh no, she got too close. Graves say like, no you don't, girl.
That was a lot of good dancing, that 90 caliber net. I've seen her use to escape death several times, and I think Graves was finally like, yeah, that was the one. I'm
it's
finally.
Like, if you're gonna sit there, bend down on one knee, and trying to line up a shot on me, I'm just gonna blow your face off. And Queen Cream Puff's coming in here, focusing on this Tark. Huge burst damage coming in from this Gragas. And I think HeartKaren's going to be a big problem for these two as they're going to try to get out of this. In time, they picked off one kill. Rengar is going to fall, but now Queen Cream Puff is all by herself, and she is going to go down 3v1. Unfortunate. Aewynia trying to run up after spawning. Not going to be enough. And these teams are trading back and forth. The kills are very, very even now. 16 kills to 15 kills. But the overall team gold is definitely still an advantage for the blue team. They actually have a 3K advantage coming up here overall. And it looks like red team might try to push this mid turret and take it down. If red can actually kill some turrets in the mid lane and the top lane, that will actually give their team gold as well and help close that gold deficit that they have had build up against them.
And I love the show that these ladies are putting on for us. Skirmish after skirmish, death after death. There's no gentleman or ladies agreement. It's cutthroat.
It's a throwdown.
But yeah, I mean, everybody says, oh well, they're 1,400 players or 1,200. Actually, there's a lot of gold players in this match. I've fallen below gold rating myself personally. So those guys. I can learn a lot from these players, and a lot of these players are playing really well. But even our unranked players, Elo doesn't determine everything, as we've seen, not just in our day-to-day play, but even in our judgment format. We've run almost a dozen judgments now,
yes.
And we've seen all different skill levels. It's not that standard, normal solo queue mentality we see between these players. These players are actually on voice chat. They're talking. They're communicating. They're immediately becoming better players because they have more sets of eyes and more information to them to dissect. Poor
Caitlyn caught out here. Those AD carries so important to their team. Sona trying to throw down a crescendo, trying to protect herself. She's going to be blown up next. And Aewynia now the next target, and Graves is doing work here. Silence Dream. There's going to be no dreams tonight if this game keeps going this way. Graves doing work, has double buff at this point, using that quick draw to actually give herself an attack speed buff that Graves is using right now to actually kill these turrets faster. And now that it's 5v2, blue team cannot actually defend this turret. It's too dangerous for them. Red team could just dive in here. They are not protected by this turret. And there is 2 turrets picked up. And just like that, the gold is about even.
Dead even game. I think red team had a couple choices here. Once they gained that advantage by picking off 3 of those members, they could have pressed turrets like they did, which is a solid choice. It opens up that map a little bit more. But they also could have made an attempt at Baron. We haven't seen Baron come into play yet. I don't know if there was one right or wrong. Typically, when I'm in the game and I'm making decisions and I'm calling decisions for my team, if I see that I've gained an advantage like that and I know I can't get an inhibitor, I might call for my team to go for Baron, because if we don't get Baron, we might have to back up, go blue pill, get healed up, buy items with those turret money we just get.
And what speaking
happens,
of that,
what happens is the enemy team that we just killed has now rezzed up. They're full. They've shopped. They're going to go and rush Baron. And we're seeing this happen right now. This happens actually a lot in solo queue as well, where they're unable to complete that advantage. And having a winner, oh no, I don't know if they're going to stay and do it. I think
the best bet for them, for the red team right now, is to use Rengar to actually steal this buff with his smite. Will he be able to do it? No, he won't. Blue team has that Baron buff now, but Aewynya's going to fall right away. Rengar is going to follow that up. HeartKaren coming here, trying to get off a good ult. She's only going to get 1 member. Marilyn actually using that net to actually get escape distance, but Graves double kill doing work, and actually as they die they lose this critical Baron buff which they just got. It's going to add to their team gold, but luckily for them, Queen Cream Puff a carry, Grog is still a carry, so they still have Baron buff on 2 of their carries. That's still better than not having the buff. But they're going to lose some turrets probably for this, and red team, going to punish them. Their AD carry is pretty far ahead. Now, you may be wondering, for people that have not seen a League of Legends game, what are all these pretty pictures down here? Now, there's a couple items, and we'll focus on the AD carries right now. Graves has been so strong so far in this team fight, and so what she has is a Phantom Dancer, which gives a lot of attack speed, critical damage. AD carry, it's really great for AD carries because they use their auto attacks, that ranged attack constantly. The faster your attack speed is, the more times you can actually shoot your auto attacks. The other item they have that is so critical is the Bloodthirster. It's cheaper than an Infinity Edge, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but it gives you good damage, it stacks up, it actually gives you lifesteal, so as you hit your opponent, you actually gain life. So if Graves and Caitlyn try to hit each other, Graves is actually going to gain life as he's hitting Caitlyn, and Caitlyn's going to gain less life back, allowing Graves to actually gain an advantage in a 1v1 fight, or the course of a team fight if he does take damage. And now Caitlyn, on the other hand, she has that Phantom Dancer as well, giving her that attack speed. But she went for Infinity Edge. Infinity Edge is the high attack damage item. It's the item you want to, if you want to deal the most damage possible of any AD item if you pick up just by itself. And so she has actually picked up Infinity Edge, but she does not have as much lifesteal. It was a lot more expensive for her. She just got her Phantom Dancer. Graves has had his Phantom Dancer for a while. He's picked up a best friend sword right here, and he's actually turned that into his own Infinity Edge. So the problem right now for the blue team, what we're seeing here, and a lot of these team fights, we see Graves picking up a lot of kills. Graves is 10, 3, and 6, is that Graves is actually one big damage item ahead of Caitlyn. If you compare their items, this Bloodthirster is an extra Bloodthirster that Caitlyn doesn't have. Its extra damage, its extra lifesteal, and so in team fights, Graves is going to be much more effective than Caitlyn is.
Yeah, it's an extra 100 damage and 20% lifesteal right now. And which is huge in team fights. If you combine that with that Baron buff, that he didn't get, obviously, but if for some reason the red team had ended up with Baron, but they would just be really far ahead in terms of just carries. And what's happening in these team fights is Graves is going untouched. He's able to get off all his abilities. He's actually sit back. He's able to fire off and get constant auto attacks. What the blue team is going to want to do is hopefully get Aurelia to the point where she can get on Graves, and they're going to be unable to peel Aurelia off of Graves. In order to protect them, they're also going to want to combine those ults with Gragas and Sona, which is going to either split up the enemy team with that Gragas barrel, or Sona to kind of lock them down once they've been split up, or even counter-initiate if the red team goes kind of too aggressive. And so right now we're seeing a potential engagement about to go down. There's the barrel from Gragas. It is going to be split, but Sona is not close enough to follow up. And look at this. Aurelia is going to go in there.
Diving in, but a little bit too far, but great crescendo falling into this team fight. Absolute Zero is actually going to go off and deal massive damage to the enemy red team. Hourglass going off, trying to protect herself. Caitlyn is still alive in this team fight, though, and now it's a quadra kill for Caitlyn. Will she be able to get the pentakill? She is so close. Graves actually got a pentakill back. This is so critical. Ace in the hole comes in. It's not enough. Will they be able to run each other down? Peacemaker over the wall. Not going to catch him. He's actually going to run through here, but now he's trapped between some turrets. What is he going to do? He's going to have to eat the turret shots. Is it going to be enough? He actually gets a heal off. Another shot. Beautiful auto attacks to actually gain enough health to actually survive that turret.
Oh my God!
Gets the ace! That was one of the most amazing plays I've ever seen. That was so high level. That was ridiculous. He took the turret shots. There was an auto attack in between each one to use that Bloodthirster like we talked about earlier to gain some life back. And then he almost 100 to zeros a Caitlyn chasing him down. Oh my gosh. That is a highlight and a half. That was amazing play. Oh, baby.
Send that to the plays of the week. I guarantee you it's going to go ham. We had 2 quadra kills. Both players competing for that pentakill, and Graves with the plays coming away with the unofficial pentakill. Oh, my God. If that is not on plays of the week.
I don't know. People are calling for replay, so we're going to give it to him. So here the team fight going down right now. You see Graves right here getting focused by Queen Cream Puff, staying out of this fight, dealing as much damage as possible. And you can see his life's going to jump up here. As he deals damage, he's staying out of this absolute area. He's protected. Meanwhile, Caitlyn actually over the wall too, just dealing out as much damage as possible. Graves coming in here, gonna be able to pick up the quadra kill as well. Sona flashing in, and now here we have the chase of chases. Graves trying to throw damage back. The ace in the hole, just barely not enough to actually kill Silent Dreams. And Silent Dreams gonna go around here and do possibly one of the best technical, mechanical plays ever to survive this turret. Dashes in, use that attack speed, gains health, takes the turret hits. Now he has Caitlyn cannot see him, comes in and actually turns around, blows her up. one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in a Judgment tournament.
My heart is racing. That is the best play I've ever seen. I'm sorry. We'll go ahead and jump back to live here. Not much has happened. Teams have kind of respawned. No objectives have been completed. All right. Can I give you a high five? I mean, the people on camera don't see it, but maybe you heard it. That was the coolest play I've seen. I want to give a high five to Silent Stream when this game is over.
Oh,
I don't know where she is, but
dude,
I don't care who wins, win or lose. Silent
Chaos
Stream, best play.
I don't care. That was one of the coolest plays I've ever seen come down. And round one. Round one.
We've got
There's more to come.
2 more exciting rounds to come. And actually, yeah, Baron should be up here soon. Baron on a 7-minute respawn. Now the red team has somewhat of a significant advantage. They were behind before, but they've been able to open up the map quite a bit. They've taken out all the outer turrets, all the tier 2 turrets. And the red team, they don't have that same turret advantage. This allows the red team to push the lanes further and open up that map vision-wise. And if we take a look at the wards, the red team's prepared for Baron. They've got everything covered in terms of map. I want to say the only thing they're missing right now is an Oracle, because they don't know if the enemy team has ward coverage. It might be safe to say that they can assume it so because the blue team hasn't left their base yet.
This is true.
So I think what we're going to see is the red team play very conservative. They're going to sit back and they're going to keep all these lanes pushed. That way they know exactly where the enemy team is. Then what they're going to do is wait for Baron to spawn, which has just happened, and they're going to probably make a play for Baron. Now they have 2 options here. They can go straight to Baron if they think they've got enough damage and they can pull it off quick enough, or what they can do is bait Baron. They can wait in a brush as the enemy team is going to advance on them. At this case, in this point, they already have all the work coverage they need to know. They're going to say, hey, we're going to take this Baron down, no problem, before the enemy team gets here. And what they're going to do is collapse then on the blue team, and poor Cream Puffs is going to catch a binding. She's going to get really low and have to back off.
It looks like I'm not actually live. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, live did not catch up. But we're going to have a quick little engagement from the red team. And blue team's actually going to back off. No one died, so luckily, we're good.
No one died. And we just heard Tywin casting from the future. That's all. I don't think you missed anything.
So Graves now, no, the key to this point is we were talking about earlier, the AD carries. Graves is actually really far out now. Now you see this little halo kind of smoky buff on him. That's actually called GA. So even now if they kill Silent Streams, they're able to actually kill Graves. Guardian Angel is actually going to revive Graves in a team fight. So it's going to be very hard for Blue to win a team fight, especially with the Baron now. Here's the engagement coming in there. Soul Shackle just barely not in range. Graves just hunting down the enemy team, just face-checking them at this point, not afraid. Has a lot of backup right here, and they're just going to kill this inhibitor. When these inhibitors fall, super minions will spawn, much bigger minions to deal more damage. But now Caitlyn in a lot of trouble, backing off others, has very, very little health, and red team is just swarming in here. Graves getting a little aggressive, has that GA though, and ace in the hole blocked by her teammates.
Teammates ready to take bullets for each other, and that's how a team should be. And looks like they're going to try and take this turret. Turret taking quite a bit of damage. Is actually going to go down here. Turret focusing on Graves. He'll take a turret shot. And Ziola getting really low, but that smoke screen doing work. It's going to slow them and take away vision. They're probably going to back up here, and what they'll have is really they can just play conservative at this point. They've got a massive advantage between Baron buffs. They just took down that inhibitor. They'll probably grab a dragon. They could probably just wait for Tarek to respawn, and then they can group up and then push another lane because they're going to have super minions pushing top lane.
Yes, yes. And they should be rolling in here soon. There they are. The big, scary, mechanical minions that have actually decided to build their own contraptions like Rumble and run them down lane into their enemy opponents. A lot more health, a lot stronger, and unless you push them back or defend the lane, it will auto-push, which becomes a big trouble for blue team. So like we were talking about earlier, the Baron buff that was fought over earlier, if blue team has their lane pushing against them and they have to defend it in order to protect their base down here, they cannot actually be out on the map to actually try to get a Baron buff or defend other objectives or even their own base turrets, because someone's going to have to go back and defend that lane. So it turns 5v5s under a turret into a 4v5 underneath the turret, and when the team has the advantage like the red team has here, still with Baron buff, they can actually dive the enemy blue team, and they are snowballing their advantage really, really well. You know, they're only about 3k ahead now after Baron and these last engagements killing the inhib. They're up by about 6k, so they've doubled that advantage and looking very, very strong. Red team doing some serious work in this game.
Yeah, and you know what? They started off behind, too. If we think about earlier, the blue team had the advantage, the gold lead. They were farming better, and the red team has just begun to communicate as a team, and as they advance between the mid to late game, we can see Graves has really taken this game, put it on her back, and just start to carry. With those plays we saw earlier, oh man, that's still, my heart's still thumping. But now they're going to be able to poke down this turret here. They're going to wait, for each creep wave to come in. They'll come in, they'll take shots. That bot lane turret already pretty low. They'll have to, the top lane's going to push in, which is just eventually going to split the enemy blue team up, and then they're going to be able to pressure with this Baron buff, which gives them sustain through increased region. I'm going to have to say that red team's in a very strong position.
Yes, they're in a very strong position. They got most of the base turrets low, like you pointed out earlier, which means if they just get a good focus on any one of them, if blue's sleeping on any lane, they can actually just dive in there really quickly like they're doing now, poke it down. Graves going to actually be able to kill this turret, and bam, the turret's down. And now blue team, since they are behind, can't really fight in a straight-up fight. They want those turrets to help protect them, so they're going to have to layer all their abilities very, very well if they want to win a team fight against the red team, which is so tanky right now. Graves actually going Banshee's Veil as well. That blue bubble around him, which actually is a spell shield right there. You saw it actually block Gragas' damage spell right there, and so it's very, very hard to deal with Graves. Now that Graves actually has all the damage items he wants, and they're just going to go out and they might close down this bottom turret as well. It looks like HeartKaren rotating down there, and once you have 3 inhibs down, it spawns even more super minions, and it's going to become a very, very hard task for the blue team to actually try to defend themselves against this pressure.
Now Baron buff has worn off, which means if the team items were even and these two teams were to fight on even footing, that would be possible. But if we take a look at the gold red team with a 7k gold advantage, this means they're probably, each of their carries are going to be probably almost 1 full item ahead, especially if they go back and shop. They've got those, all those turrets down. They've got super minions pushing on the top and mid lane. They could, there's a couple of things they can do here. They can be really conservative and just wait for Baron to respawn, which is probably a strong idea at this point, because in this format, it's a best of 1. The winning team is going to move on. Unfortunately, the round 1 losing team, they go home. They get to tune in the stream and watch us see amazing plays. But the winning team will have a chance to move on. So this round 1 is really the most important game. Teams that win round 1 will go on to play at a total minimum of 3 games, because they'll play in round 2, and then there'll be a 3rd place and final place match. Whereas, that's why we always see the most exciting games kind of around round 1 and also near the final. So I would say, at this point, they're probably going to play conservative. They might just wait. Baron's probably due up in about 2 minutes, about a minute or so. Once Baron buff wears off on your team, it's 3 minutes until it respawns. And, they have a couple options here. They might even just, spring a trap. They might wait for the enemy team to maybe push outside of their base. They know that they can take this inhibitor up top. It's a naked inhibitor. Once that respawns, they could just roll in, kill that, and then go back out and take Baron. There's just a lot of options when you're this far ahead.
Yes. And fun facts, Graves is actually at about 18k total gold right now. Caitlyn, the enemy AD, is creeping up around 14k. She's in a huge deficit right now. Graves actually has 10k more gold than his own support. Graves is very, very farmed. Actually has full item build, has bought even in oracles and some extra elixirs, which buff his other stats. And right now, Silence Dream, he's basically the workhorse. I mean, you can kill whatever enemy members of the enemy red team that you want, as long as he's alive, and he's going to be very, very hard to kill. He can basically kill the entire blue team easily.
Yeah, I love this play from Silence Dream. She's played it really well the entire game. Being aggressive when you need to, and passive when you need to. And poor Aewynia taking a lot of damage here. That Sun Ult's going to go off to no avail. They're going to continue to pressure here, poke and pressure. They're going to have minions just storming the base. And those poor base turrets are not long for this world.
Yeah.
Gragas trying to get off a play here on Silence Dream. Did a lot of work here.
Yeah, I like that hourglass. Actually, HeartKaren taking a lot of damage coming here. Actually, still going to be able to get off the shackles. But now we see Silence Dream still in this back, still protected with his buffer of members of the enemy team. Quick drawing out to actually gain some more attack speed. There's still a lot of members of blue team still alive. But as long as Silence Dream's alive, their hopes are not going to be alive here. smoke screen to protect them as they back out. The enemy turret's starting, the blue team's turret's starting to fall here to this minion pressure, and Graves actually going to die. His GA is going to be used up here, and this actually might be a great time for them to actually pick off a kill, and they will get the kill on him.
Caitlyn now with
too
red
aggressive.
buff. She could chase here. She has a chance. I think Grokkus is going to go here and pick up Dory gone Dory.
Oh, good, nice little juke there. Body slam just barely misses, but
and
the barrel of destiny
doesn't.
Yes, barrel of destiny, so strong. Also known as explosive cast, but we call it barrel of destiny.
And yeah, we can definitely see blue team not ready to give up. They are fighting. They've got their backs against the rope or backs against the wall. They've got minions streaming in from every lane. Baron's up. I would assume the red team's just going to pick off Dragon here, wait for their team members to respawn, and head over to Baron. But you can tell they're hanging on. They're not ready to give up. At this point in the game, the gold difference is only 5,000. 5,000 earlier in the game would be a huge advantage, but as the game goes on and wears on, it's not that big as carries and players begin to get into this full build status. And I really like Aewynia picking up a pink ward here, getting that vision. They might be able to make a play for Baron, or I guess in a counter Baron, but right now there's just so many minions that they're streaming into the base, and they're down to one Nexus turret.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier. Yeah, like we were talking about earlier. I mean, they had all their members up, but they still couldn't defend the turret against just the minions that were streaming in. And since all their lanes are pushing, they actually can't come out and defend this Baron. You know, they are going to see it happening, and they can make a decision to run for it. But in the process of running for it, they might just lose the game because the minions will actually kill their base. So I imagine blue team just going to give this up. They're going to see it happen, but they're just going to cry a little bit inside and have to prepare themselves for the Baron buffed up red team coming down on them, which really the Baron buffed red team, that, you know, the gap's been closed after that last team fight. They're only up by 5k, which as we get later in the game and people start to get their full items, you know, the gold advantage means less and less and less. Everybody's, you know, hitting that level 18 mark, which is the max level that you can be in League of Legends as a champion. So all your base stats and stuff like that are maxed out. You have all your max abilities, and we're going to see what's going to happen right here. You know, that Baron buff might be the deciding factor. You know, but blue team has shown some skill, been able to pull stuff off, catch red sleeping. What's going to happen? A lot of poke has started out, but red team just, you know, dealing with this very, very well. HeartKaren diving in there, using her hourglass really, really quick to protect herself. Graves come in there, and Graves actually cleaning up right now. Untouched pretty much. Caitlyn trying to back off here, trying to deal damage, trying to get toe-to-toe with him. The turret is fallen, and I don't think blue has enough team members to back this off. And it looks like Team HeartKaren is going to take game one of round one.
Awesome.
Excellent play.
Awesome game,
excellent
guys.
game.
You know, both teams, you know, obviously there's one winner, but both teams winner in my heart.
That was a really good game.
That was we had the greatest play in Judgment history. We had a really close game. It was action-packed from